Aetna Medicare Advantage Studios.
Pittsburgh's news, weather, and traffic station. News Radio, KDKA. CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper in Chicago. 6 days before the midterm elections, President Biden tells Democratic supporters during a speech in Washington, D.C., that democracy itself is under threat from former President Trump's election-denying lies and the violence he says they inspire.
Facing a defining moment, an inflection point. We must, with one overwhelming, unified voice, speak as a country and say there's no place for voter intimidation or political violence in America.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has tweeted that President Biden is trying to divide and deflect at a time when America needs to unite because he can't talk about his policies that have driven up the cost of living. North Korea appears to have carried out another missile test a day after launching up to 25 missiles. Reporter Alex Jensen in Seoul.
For the first time in months, North Korea is believed to have test-fired an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, followed by two short-range ballistic missiles, according to South Korea's military. An ICBM test would normally lead to a stern response by the UN Security Council, but it was blocked by China and Russia from taking action against the North earlier this year.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says more rate increases are needed to bring down inflation. CBS's Jason Brooks.
Following the Fed's fourth straight 0.75 percentage point rate increase, Fed Chair Jerome Powell told the press conference that recent inflation data suggests that the central bank may ultimately lift rates to higher levels than it thought at its previous meeting. Powell said that the time to slow rate hikes may come as soon as the December meeting, but he said it's very premature to be thinking of pausing rate hikes.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband Paul remains in the ICU after the attack by a man who said he was looking for the speaker. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti.
The Pelosi family is scheduled to view police body camera footage of the attack. Security cameras around the home were not being monitored at the time because Nancy Pelosi was in Washington. Meanwhile, U.S. Capitol Police have begun reviewing their own security protocol following this attack.
Surgeons in Northwestern Medicine have successfully transplanted a heart donated after circulatory death for the first time in Illinois history. Dr. Justin Pham says what was used was called the heart in a box that facilitates the stopped heart, keeps it pumping outside of the body until it can be transplanted.
This has been the biggest leap in transplantation technology, surgical techniques, ever since the 1980s when immunosuppression really transformed the field.
Elon Musk says people banned from Twitter won't be restored for weeks. On Wall Street, the Dow closed down 505 points. This is CBS News.
Make the hiring process work for you with Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution. You can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit. Attention all business owners who rent or lease space, including storage space. Stop wasting your money paying someone else for your space. Now save a ton of money and own your own building with the incredible sale prices from General Steel. That's right, start saving money every month on renting space from others. Just call 888-74-STEEL to see how General Steel can help you save money. Our 50-year structural warranty buildings are custom designed for your needs and save you a ton of money. Call 888-74-STEEL. Take it from a successful entrepreneur. If you need to expand or start a new business, you need General Steel. Great team and the competitive pricing is the reason I went with General Steel. Call 888-74-STEEL now, and you can get any of our popular quick construction structures, including a 40 by 60 foot building or a 50 by 100 clear span building fast and easy. Call 888-74-STEEL. That's 888-747-8335. 888-74-STEEL.
Inflation hits Britain's nice cup of tea. The British cuppa cutting into British budgets. The price of tea bags, milk, and sugar rising at record rates here.
They are seeing price rises across many of the goods that they're buying, including those like tea and milk.
Helena Wilkinson of the British Retail Consortium. It's not just tea breaks at breaking point.
I'm trying not to have to cut back on what we feed for children.
This Liverpool mother worries she may have to when the heat comes back on this winter. Brits hit by a perfect storm of soaring food and energy prices. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London. Concerned about possible violence ahead of the midterms, the FBI says it has arrested two members of the far-right the Boogaloo Boys. Timothy Teagan has appeared in in Detroit on drug and weapons charges, and the FBI says there was enough evidence to charge Aaron McPhillips of Sandusky, Ohio, with illegal possession of a machine gun and the interstate communication of threats. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
A Pittsburgh favorite is taking the stage once again at Rivers Casino. Johnny Angel and the Halos, live in the Event Center on Saturday, December 3rd at 7 p.m. After a few years off, they're back and ready to rock. Catch your favorite Halos hits, along with a few holiday favorites. Visit riverscasino.com or inside Rivers Casino for tickets. And don't miss your chance to see Johnny Angel and the Halos Comeback Show. Get more for your Medicare dollar, Pennsylvania, with a $0 premium Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With a United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plan,
another lovely evening on the road.
Including better than ever dental, vision, over-the-counter, and prescription drug coverage. Take advantage. Call United Healthcare today at 1-855-296-0895. That's 1-855-296-0895. Benefits, features, and/or devices vary by plan and area. Limitations and exclusions apply.
The KBKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Well, the sky will be clear to partly cloudy for tonight. There will be some patches of fog late, low 47. Mostly sunny and mild tomorrow, a high of 68. And then mainly clear tomorrow night. Some fog forming again in tops low 50. The weather on meteorologist Brian Thompson at 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Now your smart speaker to play KDKA or download the free Odyssey app. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Welcome to the Jim Bohannon Show with me, Rich Valdez, your host. My phone number, right here, 866-505-4626. If you want to give me a call, have a conversation with us and the guests, you're more than welcome to do so. 866-505-4626. And there's obviously the news right now. Just a couple hours ago, President Joe Biden delivered a speech, and it was another one of those speeches that ignores just about everything that's going on in the world. For example, the threat of Iran attacking Saudi Arabia. It ignores the onslaught on our children with this gender ideology. It ignores the economy. It ignores inflation. It ignores crime. It ignores
Good evening, everybody. I have a special treat for you guys watching. I've been working the overnight shift for the last about 3 months now out on Interstate 84 in New York State, and tonight I thought I would live stream some of my drive around the work site. I'm taking part in a roving lane closure that's basically going to run anywhere from the Connecticut state line westward towards the western project limit, which is at milepost 60. So it's about an 11-mile scope or so. I don't know exactly how far we're going to get tonight. I don't know exactly how much you're going to get to see. And I'm also not sure how long I'm going to keep the stream going. I mean, theoretically, I could keep it going all night if I wanted to. This gives you a little bit of an idea of what I've been doing professionally the last about 3 months or so. So welcome in. We're on the westbound side of I-84 in New York State. We're now currently at milepost 70.9. And we're going to be doing some shoulder rehabilitation work tonight. Again, in a roving pattern that, we'll go as far as we can. We'll probably get a few miles in tonight, and whatever we don't finish tonight, we'll pick up where we left off tomorrow and keep going. So that's what we have in store for you this evening. I will do the best I can to keep you as entertained as possible throughout the night. as I can. Some of this work can be kind of boring and tedious to look at, I know. I'll probably have to make a couple of rounds around the job site on the highway itself, so you'll get to see that at some point. So we'll just play it by ear. We'll keep going as long as we feel like. You can also enjoy listening to the radio in the background. One of the things that's really interesting if you're a radio nerd is that here in the Hudson Valley of New York State, you can pick up KDKA in Pittsburgh very clearly overnight. So that's what I have That's what I have on the radio dial right now.
And this study indicates that Google is punishing Republicans who speak out against big tech. Plus, you've got Biden's CDC replacing the woman with pregnancy in some of their latest guidance. So those are just a couple of the headlines. But I want you to hear a little bit from the Biden speech, because President Biden says, again, in this major speech that wasn't even from the White House, it was sponsored by the Democrat National Committee, and it was a political speech where he was trying to, I guess, throw red meat to the base. And he says that it is the Republicans, or as he likes to say, the MAGA, that are corrosive. They are corrosive to our democracy. Listen to this.
We can't ignore the impact this is having on our country. It's damaging, it's corrosive, and it's destructive. And I want to be very clear. This is not about me. It's about all of us. It's about what makes America, America.
You know, these things, they bother me for the first 20, 30 seconds. I feel like, oh my gosh, we've lost our way. We've completely lost our way. I don't know that we recover. Do we ever go back to a time where it's not acceptable for the president to engage in this type of rhetoric, where you literally are calling out the people that you know won't vote for you and saying that they're corrosive to democracy, irrespective of what occurred whenever it occurred? There are millions upon millions of people in this country that identify as MAGA, that feel that they want to make America great again. They're populists. They believe in this larger idea. Many of them are disaffected Democrats. Many of them are disaffected Republicans. They're all over the place. But the bottom line is, they're not your run-of-the-mill George W. Bush, Karl Rove type of Republican. They're just not that person. And they don't like that person. They wouldn't vote for that person. Because they want to see something, they want to see a renaissance in America, a return to America's greatness, if you will, MAGA. And that's why they signed on to this. And it's just shameful to me, where you're days away from an election, and I get it, you're the president, you're trying to stump for your team, but he wasn't saying, look, Democrats are winning on this, our policies are great on that, we're doing such an amazing job with America here, 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 and here. This is why you have to help us continue our agenda, because Democrats are paving the way for America. No, Biden didn't say any of those things. He can't bring those things to the table because there's no record there. There's no record to run on. He makes things up as he goes along. He talks about his son. He talks about his son dying, about how great the other son is, the one that's constantly under investigation. And it really saddens me that more people don't call this out, that the media themselves don't say, all right, listen, if you're not going to say something worthwhile, we're just not going to cover this. You know, maybe we'll put it on our stream, but we're not going to interrupt things and bring this to you in prime time, because you're not telling the truth. You're being disingenuous. You know, I think Biden really needs to make that appeal, and this is why I think he gets the critique he gets from a lot of people, in particular from me, because you can't go around saying that the Republican Party or the MAGA movement is some sort of threat based on what? The events of one day and people that are all locked up and have been locked up since? You can't say that about all these people that support. And it's not even about supporting Trump. It's about supporting an idea to restore America to its greatness. And I think it's just shameful. And I don't think it's going to work. If anything, I think it's going to turn off more Democrats and say, you know what? I'm sitting this one out. I'm not interested. And you're going to see more Republicans get inspired and get energized and be invigorated to go and vote for this MAGA red tidal wave that they're anticipating. And who knows, that might even give Donald Trump, or as I like to call him, El Trumpito Donaldus Magnus, the 45th president of these United States, it may give him the impetus to say, and you know what, folks? I'm running for president. I don't know. I think there might be an announcement soon. Let's see what happens. But anyway, more to come straight ahead with Amir Benno. You've seen him on Newsmax. He's a constitutional lawyer. He's going to break down a few things with us on the Trump story. Plus, we're going to talk about affirmative action, and then I'm going to get a reaction on the Biden speech. Plus, anything else that comes up. And your calls, 866-505-4626, 866-50. Jimbo's the phone number. I am Rich Valdez, and we'll be right back.
NFL Plus is here, which means no matter where you are, this is how you football. You can stream live, local, and primetime regular season games on your phone or tablet. 45-minute game replays with NFL Plus Premium and more. This is NFL for every fan. This is football freedom. This is your game on the go. Wherever you are, this is how you football. Go to plus.nfl.com/radio and start your free trial of NFL Plus today. Terms and conditions apply. Today on Hey Culligan, reverse to reduce here. Hey Culligan, I love fresh water, but I got plastic bottles coming out. Whoa, Bob, you're not kidding about the bottles, but did you know Culligan's reverse osmosis is always on drinking water systems, provide fresh, clean, delicious drinking water, and help reduce the equivalent of over 15 billion plastic bottles from landfills worldwide. Holy fresh, environmentally friendly drinking water. All right? Right, Bob, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com. My heart was racing, making me giddy. I couldn't wait to show my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was 26, just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait. They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
For all your printing needs this holiday, Staples has you covered.
I need custom printed holiday cards for my one-of-a-kind business.
Staples has you covered.
It's beginning to look a lot like I need custom party invites. Fast.
I need cards for everyone who gave me a hand this year, without spending an arm and a leg.
Staples has you covered with personalized holiday cards and invites. And now save 40% on custom holiday cards and invitations. For everything you need printed, go to Staples, the working and learning store. In-store and online, and 12/17. Exclusions and restrictions apply.
The big election is next week, but do you really know what's at stake? Rob Schmidt does. Every night he's on Newsmax talking about the real issues the big media won't. Rob shows how inflation really is killing our economy, as Congress does so little to stop the recession. Then Rob looks at our border, soaring crime, the radical left, and the dangers of the woke agenda and more. All this week, Rob speaks with the candidates in the big races that will change America. Go up close with Rob in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin, North Carolina, New Hampshire, and many other places. Stay out of city and water. Watch Rob Schmidt tonight on Newsmax. It's already the hottest cable news channel in America. It is a really restrictive Newsmax. They're turning off the bad guys for news they can trust. Watch Rob Schmidt tonight. Make the switch to Newsmax. You won't look back.
Welcome back. It's Rich Valdez, Valdez with an S, at Rich Valdez on all of his social media. And as Biden was there taking aim and teeing it up and taking shots at Americans all across the fruited plain tonight, where he was just basically insulting the Republicans, or at least what he calls the MAGA Republicans, the Democrats have been doing this nonstop to President Trump in every way they can. I think on Monday there was 3 different trials going on related to Trump organizations, Trump trials, and people think, wow, this guy must be guilty of sin, of everything, if there's so many trials going on. But the other side of that coin is that there's kind of a relentless pursuit of Trump that always ends up in nothing. Because, not because he's a saint, but because these things are frivolous to begin with, and they're many times done to create the appearance that where there's smoke, there is fire. And that's not always the case. But here to make sense of all of this and what's going on with the taxes that Trump has repeatedly said, I don't want people looking at my taxes. And the Supreme Court, actually, Chief Justice Roberts stepped in and said, yep, we're not going to do that, at least temporarily. We're going to go to Amir Benno with that. Amir Benno, you've seen him on Newsmax. He's a legal analyst there, but he's also a constitutional lawyer and the former New York City prosecutor, so he can give us that perspective. And he's with the Benno and Associates firm, so don't miss out on that when you go check him out online. Amir Benno, welcome to the program.
Great, it's so great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, brother. Always good to hear your voice, man. So I want to get a few things from you, and obviously there's a lot I want to ask, and probably not enough time to get to it all. But I want to talk first about this Trump taxes and Chief Justice Roberts weighing in on that. Help us understand.
Yeah, so this is a subpoena from the House Ways and Means Committee to the IRS, and they want to get his taxes. And essentially what Trump did is he asked for a stay of a lower court order that directed the agency to turn it over. And so what happened is they granted that stay, so temporarily anyway. But it's very similar to what happened a couple of years ago. The Supreme Court dealt with a couple cases involving subpoenas from other House committees. There was the Intelligence Committee, Financial Services, House Oversight, where they were subpoenaing Donald Trump's accounting firm and his bank and his company's bank. And at that point, he was saying, you're not entitled to any of this because he was a sitting president, and there's a separation of powers issue where you have Congress trying to get information on the president. And so essentially the Supreme Court in those cases said, well, the lower courts that these accounting firms and banks had to turn over the documents hadn't taken into account the grave separation of powers issue, and so they sent the case back down. So he got a reprieve from that. He lost the case, if you remember. There was also the Manhattan DA's office, now that's where I used to work, that subpoenaed, they did a grand jury investigation and they subpoenaed his tax records. And as you were mentioning, if there had been anything in those that was anything newsworthy whatsoever, against Donald Trump, we would have seen him by now, because that office under that DA, and certainly the current one, he's like a sieve. So, but the fact that there's nothing there, there's nothing there. So he lost that one, and this is just by the Democrat-controlled Congress to get his records and to dirty him up. And ultimately, what it comes down to is, if they don't have a valid legislative purpose, then they're not going to be allowed to get this. They can't conduct a criminal investigation, and that's what this probably is.
And I think that's really interesting, because Congress really should not be the opposition research arm for the Democrat Party. It should not be some sort of criminal or investigatory arm for the IRS or the FBI or anybody else, because their purpose and their constitutional purpose is legislative, correct? Or am I wrong in thinking this?
Yeah, well, that's 100% right. The executive branch is what does criminal investigations. And so, if you had special counsel or you had the DOJ that was issuing a subpoena, that would be a different situation. And that's what we had, that's in fact what we had with the Mar-a-Lago subpoena for documents, and that's what happened in the Nixon case. But this is totally different. This is Congress, the one branch of government that is now trying to get the other branch to heel by demanding very sensitive private documents relating to his personal finances.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I think oftentimes, because of a lack of whatever it is, maybe a lack of civic education or a lack of just basic government 101, a lot of people think when they're having these hearings that there's some sort of legal ramification, like, if you get found guilty in the January 6th committee, you're going to jail, you're going to do hard time. And obviously that's not the case. It's supposed to be oversight, if you can even agree that they have a purpose to exist. But I think it's all political theater, in my opinion, looking at it politically. Obviously you're an attorney, you might look at it differently, but what's your take on that?
No, listen, you're 100% right. I mean, technically, it's exactly correct that's the legislative purpose. That is, Congress can only pursue a legislative purpose or oversight. But but not criminal investigations. And the January 6th committee, of course, is really a show trial, a one-sided one at that, very slanted. But its whole purpose is to conduct essentially a criminal investigation, to obtain information that it's then presenting over to the DOJ. So that's just formally they're presenting it to Merrick Garland so that he can bring the criminal charges. But make no mistake, this is a criminal investigation, and that goes well beyond what they're empowered to do under the Constitution. There's a lot of challenges to the January 6th committee and whether they even had the power to issue subpoenas, this being one of them. But you're right when you say that it's a show trial, it's political theater.
Yeah. And before we move on from Trump and the legal woes that they're presenting him with and go on to affirmative action and Biden's speech, I want to get your thoughts. I read somewhere yesterday, I forget where, otherwise I say where I got it, but something about the indictment of Donald Trump being imminent. And I'm thinking, I mean, of course, the old saying, you can indict a ham sandwich, and I'm sure they could come up with some theory, but I think it can't be that flimsy because he literally he's like president emeritus, if you will, He wasn't like president 100 years ago. He was president, like 5 minutes ago. And I think we have to have some semblance of normalcy and not being a Tin Pot Republic type of place here in America. But what do you make of that type of commentary?
Look, I think that, in fact, Merrick Garland is going to indict him. I agree with you that I think that it's a tragic mistake and certainly unprecedented. And it's hard to really know what it will be for, whether it's going to be related to classified records, records retention down in Mar-a-Lago, or whether it has to do on some tenuous theory that's similar to incitement for January 6th, whether it has to do with election interference under some theory like that. But I do think that Merrick Garland's going to do it. I think that he's not doing it now because it's so close to the election. But I think they're going to try to pull the plug on any kind of Donald Trump's presidency. And they're not beyond using our justice apparatus to take down a political opponent, which is, a sad commentary as to where we're at with the weaponization of our DOJ and our FBI and our national security apparatus to do the bidding of our politicians. But that's what I think is going to happen, and it's unfortunate. And it's not just the feds, by the way. Georgia, in Fulton County, they're doing a grand jury investigation into election interference, and they may very well indict him as well. So, and then, who knows what's going to happen. There's still a grand jury investigation up at Alvin Bragg's office in the Manhattan DA's office. We got to get him out of office for a variety of reasons, but that's one of them. So, it's hard to know. If it's not Merrick Garland, it may be any other of these other, left-wing lackeys who want to take him down.
Right. Well, and again, I would presume if I had to have a crystal ball, which I don't have, I would say they would do them simultaneously. You would have Bragg's office do it, you would have Georgia do it, and then you'd have Merrick Garland say, well, look, these guys are doing it, we're jumping in. But I think that the window that exists for them is between the 9th of this month and January 5th, because come the 6th, I think Republicans will be trying to eliminate Garland through impeachment. I don't know, maybe I'm right or wrong. Stick with us. We're on with Amir Benno. I'm Rich Valdez. There's more to come straight ahead. Don't go anywhere.
Tell your smart speaker to play News Radio, KDKA, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum preferred roofing company.
Are you suffering from hair loss, bald spots, receding hairline? Here's a new solution for men and women. It uses regenerative medicine to stimulate hair follicles and give you thicker, fuller hair with no surgery. This remarkable treatment is now available here from the regenerative specialists at QC Kinetics. That's right. The same protocols that help relieve joint pain can be used to give new life to dormant hair follicles. QC Kinetics medical professionals can use growth factors from your own body, concentrated and applied to your scalp, restoring hair follicles, preventing further loss, and increasing hair growth. Imagine thicker, fuller hair with no expensive surgery and no downtime. So if you're losing your hair due to aging, pattern baldness, or a medical condition, call now to learn more about exciting natural biologic treatments, regenerative medicine that can stimulate those dormant hair follicles. Get your hair growing naturally again. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 724-201-4230. That's 724-201-4230. QC Kinetics. 724-201-4230. Looking for a Medicare plan? Get great coverage for dental, vision, and hearing with a Medicare plan from UPMC Health Plan. Plus, their new UPMC for Life Spend card can give you up to $1,000 additional dollars to spend however you choose on over-the-counter products, as well as dental, vision, and hearing services. Find out more at upmchealthplan.com/Medicare. UPMC for Life has a contract with Medicare to provide HMO and PPO plans. Enrollment in UPMC for Life depends on contract renewal.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Here on News Radio KBKA. From the Medicare Advantage Studio.
News, weather, and traffic station. News Radio, KBKA.
CBS News Brief. President Biden, in a speech to Democratic supporters, warns that democracy is under threat and that the extreme elements of MAGA Republicans
Trying to succeed where they failed in 2020, suppress the right of voters, and subvert the electoral system itself.
The RNC says the president is demonizing and smearing Americans. Japan and South Korea report the firing of more missiles by North Korea. Missile and Asia-Pacific expert Ponda Ankit tells BBC News.
The North Koreans launched more missiles in the last 24 hours than they launched in the entirety of 2019, which was their busiest missile testing year in the past.
The Fed announces its fourth straight interest rate increase of 0.75 percentage point. Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
Taking forceful steps to moderate demand so that it comes into better alignment with supply. Our overarching focus is using our tools to bring inflation back down to our 2% goal.
CBS News Brief, I'm Jennifer Kuiper.
On 32.
Welcome back, and we continue our conversation with constitutional lawyer Amir Benno, Newsmax contributor. You see him discussing the law on television all the time. And we will just have to wait and see. It's a nail-biter to see what's going to happen with these indictments, with impeachments and whatnot, and what happens in the outcome of the midterm election. But moving forward, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas weighed in on this affirmative action case in the Supreme Court of the United States. And he had this to say.
I've heard the word diversity quite a few times, and I don't have a clue what it means. It seems to mean everything for everyone. And I'd like you first, you did give some examples in your opening remarks, but I'd like you to give us a specific definition of diversity in the context of the University of North Carolina. And I'd also like you to give us a clear idea of exactly what the educational benefits of diversity at the University of North Carolina would be.
Yes, Your Honor. So first, we define diversity the way that this court has in its court's precedent, which means broadly diverse set of criteria that extends to all different backgrounds and perspectives and not solely limited to race. And there's a factual finding in its record, PEDAC 113, that there are many different diversity factors that are considered as a greater factor in our risk process. Race.
All right, Dr. Ryan Burke, North Carolina Solicitor General. And I don't know, in my opinion, he's kind of pretty nervous. I mean, maybe I'd be nervous in front of him too. But I want to bring back Amir Benno. Amir Benno is a constitutional attorney, former prosecutor in the city of New York, and all around a great guy. Amir, what are your thoughts on what what the Thomas and Solicitor General Park has to say there.
Well, Justice Thomas is right. What is diversity? It's sort of like the spam of the law. It is whatever you want it to be. Nobody really knows what it is. And it defines a definition. It's got no termination point. Nobody knows when these race-conscious preferences are going to end. And so he's entirely correct that the court, Thomas is asking that question. And what you'll see from UNC and from Harvard is they were unable to answer the question. They tried to say that race was not the determinative factor in admissions, but then they conceded that in many circumstances it is. And so how do you square that with the 14th Amendment, which says that people are entitled to equal protection under the laws, and you can't classify people on the basis of race? How do you square that with Title VI of the 1964 Civil Rights Act that says that it's forbidden for any entity that receives federal money in schools, we'll say, to discriminate on the basis of race? So they really couldn't answer. I think and run it way out, this is the question of how dramatic are the people can be. So they can do a couple things. I don't think that will happen. Allowing probably going to find one of those last two. I think we're going to get, 5 judges. I don't know necessarily that it'll be Kavanaugh. I definitely think Alito is going to be. Thomas and Barrett will be there. And I think that days of affirmative action are numbered.
And then, of course, Sotomayor will write the dissent and say that everybody's a racist. At least that's what I'm thinking.
Yes, a very fiery dissent, I'm sure. Even though they couldn't, their questions didn't. I think they sort of indicated a misunderstanding on their part of this. I mean, they want to have their cake and eat it too. They, there's no good explanation for why you can't use race-neutral approaches if diversity is really that much of a benefit. It's not diversity, of course, the way you look. It's diversity of experiences and diversity of backgrounds, diversity of opinions and thoughts. That's really the diversity we should be caring about, not about what color your skin is or any of those immutable characteristics. And there's no reason why they couldn't look to things such as a person's socioeconomic background or geographic region they come from, or whether they're, a first-generation American or something else, in order to get that kind of, or look at people's essays or things of that nature that might indicate that they have a different sort of background that would contribute to diversity in the educational institution. And they haven't been able to explain why that's not preferable to just checking off a box.
Right, academic criterion and looking at actual academics. That might make some sense, Amir Benno, right? Unbelievable.
Yep.
All right, folks, I want to let everybody know how they can find you. Tell everybody where you're at.
Well, you can just find me across social media, on Twitter, at Amir Benno. That's AMEERBENNO. And that's the easiest way to find me. So follow me there, and I guess that's it.
Yeah, folks, make sure you follow Amir Benno. He's on all of the social media at Amir Benno. His analysis is always on point. He's usually right when he gives his this conjecture. It usually comes out the way he's calling it. That's why I like to bring him on the show. Amir Benno, you're a gentleman and a scholar, and I thank you for joining us tonight, my brother.
Rich, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Take care. God bless. Now, straight ahead, what's going on in Iran? There's a threat coming out of Iran saying that they're going to come after the Saudis. Who knows what's going to happen there, but we're going to check in with Brian Leib, Executive Director of Iranian Americans for Liberty, and he's going to break it down for us. More to come straight ahead. I'm Rich Valdez.
Did you know that the makers of Salonpas pain-relieving patches have a 180-year history making pain relief patches? And if you need any more proof that Salonpas helps people with aches and pains, clinical research has shown that those who use Salonpas reported less pain with improvement in mood, sleep, and the ability to work. Put a patch on your pain and make it Salonpas. It's good medicine. Sponsored by Hisamitsu.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Direct coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
What's your least favorite season? Now, if you're like me, it's cold and flu season. So get relief from it this year with Mucinex DM. With cough and chest congestion relief for 12 hours in just one dose. That's 3 times longer than 4-hour products. Mucinex DM makes any season comeback season. Even cold and flu season. Get 3 times the relief in just one dose with Mucinex DM. It couldn't be simpler. Nothing lasts longer among over-the-counter cough and cold remedies. Mucinex DM provides 12 hours of relief for chest congestion and cough, day or night. Use as directed.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm Larry Richard. Join me every morning at 5 and get your day started.
Welcome back. It's me, Rich Valdez. Welcome back. 866-505-4626. 866-505-4626 is the phone number if you want to weigh in on the conversation. And there is a threat coming from Tehran. They're saying that there's high alert after the Saudi officials are warning of imminent attack from Iran. I want to welcome our friend Brian Leib to the show, Executive Director of Iranian Americans for Liberty. Brian, welcome.
Hi, Rich. Good to be with you. How's everything?
Thank God, brother. I mean, not the best headline to be reading. Nice to hear your voice, but you know, it's not great to hear that, you know, this is what's going on. Is this still accurate information from what you know, that there's still an imminent threat towards the Saudis from the Iranians?
You know, no one's really heard too much more ever since this threat popped up around 48 hours ago. But when we are talking about the Islamic Republic of Iran, Rich, we're always talking about an imminent threat of some kind, whether that's, them pushing their billions out the door to their terrorist proxies who are actively attacking American assets, Israeli assets, Saudi assets, and a lot of our, allies in the Middle East. Whether that's the Iranians shipping hundreds and thousands of drones to the front lines in the Russia-Ukraine war, or whether it's the latest about them potentially shipping 1,000 marine missiles to Russia.
Do you think this has anything to do with the support that Iran has for Russia, or something to do with the elections in Israel, or nothing to do with either?
Well, the Islamic Republic always tends to make some pretty outlandish remarks anytime there's any election in Israel. But I don't know if it really has anything to do with the elections in Israel, or really just the fact that there are destabilizing situation that's happening inside of Iran right now. For the last 50 plus days, young men and women from all walks of life, from all corners of Iran, have been protesting not just a protest, but an uprising, a revolution. And the people are sick and tired of what's happening right now. So, of course, the regime will do anything they can to kind of shift the public image about what's happening right now. But the fact is that there is a revolution that's happening right now. Sadly, hundreds, if not probably thousands, that we know of at this point, of Iranians have been killed in these protests and this uprising. But this is kind of par for the course when we're talking about the regime in Tehran. They always tend to saber rattle to get people to shift the focus from what's actually happening, within their own country.
Let's talk a little bit about this uprising, because I know it started, at least from what I've observed, it started with this woman that was brutally killed for whatever infraction they imposed upon her, and for fighting back. And now women and men, but I continually see women stepping up, saying, "I'm taking off my hijab. I'm standing up against, the establishment." Walk us through it.
Yeah, so the woman you're referring to, her name was Mahsa Amini, a young Iranian woman who had a very small piece of hair sticking out of her hijab, and the morality police, as they're referred to inside of Iran, went after her, and they killed her. And as horrible as the Mahsa Amini murder was and is, there's also been countless other similar murders since of young Iranian women that have been killed for similar reasons. Actually, the reporter who broke that story about Mahsa Amini, he's in a prison right now. Who knows if he's alive or dead? But this is just kind of what this regime does. But what you're seeing, I think, for the first time, in my lifetime, Rich, is this revolution that's happening. It looks different, it smells different, and the fact that we're 50 days in now, and the Iranian people still, every single day, every single night, are taking to the streets to protest this regime with chanting death to the dictator, burning Khomeini posters all throughout the country. This seems different than it typically has been in the past, and I really think it's time for not just American leaders of all stripes, of all parties, but also European leaders as well, to really do whatever they can to enact stiffer, tougher sanctions on this regime. They should take a page out of Albania's book. Albania decided to sever all diplomatic ties with the Islamic Republic of Iran, and they expelled all Iranian diplomats after the Iranians launched a cyber attack against them just 2 months ago. So, it's really time for the whole world to really isolate and shun this regime till they have nothing left, and we've got to align behind the freedom and liberty-seeking Iranian people.
I agree with that 100%. If people don't stick together, these guys will continue doing what they do best, which is always being up to no good. Folks, we're on with Brian Live, Executive Director of Iranian Americans for Liberty, and we're going to continue our conversation with him. I would like to get your take when we come back on the outcome of the Israeli election and the probability of the next generation of Bibi Netanyahu and what that means for Iran and the region. Folks, if you want to join us, 866-505-4626. I am Rich Valdez, and there's more to come straight ahead.
You never knowingly feed your pup mystery meat or spoiled grocery store food, so why are those some of the most common protein sources in kibble today? Yep, the dog food ingredient meat meal can be made of spoiled supermarket meat and packing plant scraps.
I'm veterinarian Dr. Marty Goldstein. Your dog needs a biologically appropriate diet similar to what they would eat in the wild. That's why I developed Nature's Blend, a freeze-dried raw food made with premium cuts of meat, omega-3 rich seeds, and superfood veggies and fruit.
Bailey is 12 years old. He has been on your food for 9 days now.
Nature's Blend is pantry safe and has 0 artificial preservatives, additives, filler, or meat meal.
He's got more energy, able to run around and play when our grandson comes.
For a limited time, save 54% off Nature's Blend and receive a free pack of premium dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/Jim or text Jim to 511-511.
I can't thank you enough. He's 12 and I'm enjoying every day with him.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to one additional text. Text out to opt out.
Paid for by Dr. Marty's Pets.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Direct coverage. Let's compare plans on that. Over the phone, or in person. No Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I don't know if it's not going to pay. I can do that in the bed. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
So rumor has it that Staples has everything I need to ship.
That's not a rumor. We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yep.
And I can actually ship there, right?
We have UPS right here in store.
What will Staples think of next?
Right.
No, seriously, I'm asking, what will they think of next?
Staples has all your shipping supplies and UPS service in store. And right now, get 25% off UPS Express shipping services. Staples, the best kept secret in shipping. And 12/31, valid only in Staples U.S. stores.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if the prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. And Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping is prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with 0 copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed for your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Valdez with an S, at Rich Valdez on all of the social media. And if you want to join the conversation, the phone number is 866-505-4626. Our guest is Brian Live, Executive Director of Iranian Americans for Liberty. And we were discussing with, I guess, the majority of the votes in, at least last I looked, Netanyahu's headed for a decisive comeback victory as Prime Minister in Israel. Brian Live, what do you think this means for the region?
Well, I hope it sends chills down the spine of the regime in Iran, because I do believe that Bibi Netanyahu and his coalition are prepared to do whatever is necessary to respond to the malign influence that the Islamic Republic has throughout the region, whether that's Hezbollah in Lebanon or Hamas in Gaza or several other, organizations that the IRGC funds. So I think it's good news for the region. And let's also give Bibi Netanyahu credit. It was under his watch, Rich, that Israel made groundbreaking, record-breaking peace with the UAE, with Bahrain, with Morocco, and I think there were some other countries that were involved as well. I think Netanyahu that helped that happen. So I think you're going to see him coming out of the gate pretty strong here. I wouldn't be shocked to see that this Saudi Arabia finally officially declare peace with Israel.
Wow. What do you think the Michaels are trying to do?
The Saudis and the Israelis have been doing business with each other for a long time. They've been quietly doing a lot to cooperate behind the scenes. And over the last couple of years, the Saudis have done some things in a more public manner where they've spoken out against the Palestinians and how the Palestinian Authority, I think it was MBS that said that the Palestinian Authority never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. So that was a pretty strong statement for MBS and the Saudis to come out with. But I think it's similar to the Israelis and the Emiratis, right? I mean, for years they've been doing business behind the scenes, and what the Abraham Accords did, and which President Trump and his administration, I think, really did, is they set the table, and I think these countries are really needed for their relationship being off the business and relates to the world. And I think you're going to see something pretty similar with the Saudis as well, and also with the Iranian regime and with everything that's happening there. It's just a natural ally. The Saudis and Israelis are natural allies, not just in pushing back against Iran, but for a lot of other reasons too. So I'm hopeful that the day is going to come. Listen, Rich, I never thought that Israel would openly make peace deals with any Arab country. 3 or 4 that they did. So, can they do Saudi Arabia? Can they do other countries?
Yeah, right. At this point, why not? Now, we got about 90 seconds left. I want you to share with the audience how they could, keep up with the work that you're doing, a little bit about that work as well.
Sure. I'm the executive director of the Iranian Americans for Liberty, which is a 501c4 organization based out of D.C. And we're working to build bipartisan support with members of Congress and also with the community at large for people to speak up in support of the freedom and liberty-seeking Iranian people, and to support freedom and democracy in that country and also in the region. You can check us out on any of the social medias. Our hashtags are not hashtags, I'm sorry, our handles are @LibertyIranian on all the social media platforms. And for me in particular, you can check out my website, which is Brian with a Y, the middle initial E, and then LEIB.com, so BrianELive.com. And also check me out on any of my social media. My handles range depending on the platform, but safe to say if you Google Brian Live, you'll find some interesting content out there.
Excellent. And give the website one more time so that people know exactly where to find you.
Of course. Thanks, Rich. It's BrianELive.com. Brian with a Y, E, and then LEIB.com.
Outstanding. Well, listen, brother, I want to thank you for being here with us because I know you keep your finger on the pulse of everything that's going on there, and salute to you and everything that you guys are doing at Iranian Americans for Liberty. Thanks again.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you giving us an opportunity to tell your audience what's happening. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you. All right, folks, more to come straight ahead. We got another hour, 2 hours. You're going to love it. Don't go anywhere. I'm Rich Valdez. It's the Jimbo Hanna Show.
KDKA and KDKA FM HD2 Pittsburgh, W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sick and tired of living with that constant sting in your knees and back? Is joint pain keeping you from doing what you love? Then call QC Kinetics. Hi, this is Larry Richards. I visited with the owner, Chris, at their Cranberry Clinic. They have one in Robinson, more on the way because it's working to help people relieve joint pain. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. First, make the call 724-201-4230. Call now. Appointments are available for this coming week. QC Kinetics. No surgery, no drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. This can give you your life back. And again, avoid surgery. 724-201-4230. That's 724-201-4230. QC Kinetics.
Some people bring joy wherever they go. Some whenever they go. Mark Twain found humor all around. Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. Humor. Pass it on from PassItOn.com.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum preferred roofing company.
The Medicare Advantage Studio.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Clear.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper in Chicago. Speaking to a crowd of supporters in Washington, D.C., President Biden warns of the risks to democracy posed by those who would refuse to accept election results. CBS's Stephen Portnoy.
The president says candidates who come from the extreme MAGA wing of the GOP have refused to commit to accepting the results.
This is a path to chaos in America.
From D.C.'s Union Station, Mr. Biden said this year, democracy itself is on the ballot.
We've never given up on the American experiment. We can't do that now.
In a statement, the Republican National Committee said the president is demonizing and smearing Americans rather than uniting them. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, Washington.
North Korea fires a suspected intercontinental ballistic missile alongside two other shorter-range missiles as it continues weapons tests. North Korea expert Ralph Costa says launching an ICBM is a significant show of force.
Nobody's died, no one's been killed. But it is, an increase in rhetoric, and it is, more importantly, an increased demonstration of North Korean capabilities.
Yesterday, North Korea fired more than 20 missiles. It's the most ever fired in a single day. Calls for help from students and teachers trapped inside of Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas, have been released. This as families of some of the children who were killed gathered at a memorial demanding tougher gun laws. CBS's Omar Villafranco reports from Uvalde.
Desperate calls are made from inside the school, including one from 10-year-old Chloe Torres, begging for help from officers standing on the other side of the wall. She survived the attack.
I already told them to go to the room. We're trying to get someone to you.
19 students and 2 teachers died during the attack. The central bank lifts short-term interest rates by 0.75 percentage point for the 4th straight time as the Fed attempts to cool off inflation. More from CBS's Jason Brooks.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell told the press conference that the Fed may have to move rates even higher than it expected in September due to recent inflation readings. But he acknowledged that higher rates have slowed down consumer spending and that the central bank may start to moderate the pace of rate hikes at its next meeting in December.
Before he was formally sentenced to life in prison without parole, Nicholas Cruz heard more statements from relatives of those killed in the Parkland school shooting and those who were injured that day, like Samantha Fuentes.
Stupid gun, you are nothing. My name is Sam Fuentes, and you will not forget me. I'll never forgive or forget what you've done. And to say I won't be angry for the rest of my life would be a lie.
This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Clear, a faster, easier way through airport security. Try today for 2 months free by visiting clearme.com/CBS22 or use code CBS22.
Attention all business owners who rent or lease space, including storage space. Stop wasting your money paying someone else for your space. You can now save a ton of money and own your own building with the incredible sale prices from General Steel. That's right, start saving money every month on renting space from others. Just call 888-74-STEEL to see how General Steel can help you save money. Our 50-year structural warranty buildings are custom designed for your needs and save you a ton of money. Call 888-74-STEEL.
Take it from a successful entrepreneur. If you need to expand or start a new business, you need General Steel.
Great team and the competitive pricing is the reason I went with General Steel.
Call 888-74-STEEL now, and you can get any of our popular modular quick construction structures, including a 40 by 60 foot building or a 50 by 100 clear span building fast and easy. Call 888-74-STEEL. That's 888-747-8335. 888-74-STEEL.
There are some options if you're the big winner of tonight's Powerball jackpot. Win big in the Powerball. The existing cash options will just out of zero or choose to get small amounts over the next 30 years. Jeremy Kyle is a financial advisor and says if you can get more interest by taking it all out at once, go for it.
The rate looks to be like a 4.3% rate. So hey, that's not too bad of a rate. And of course, if you want to take the money out and try to do more yourself, then take the cash.
Start the 29th annual pay and drive 5% each year until reaching the $1.2 billion total.
Matt Piper, CBS News.
Boeing is promising Wall Street that it will make big improvements in airplane production and cash flow generation in the next few years. Company officials have told analysts that Boeing will generate $10 billion in annual cash flow by 2025 or 2026. That upbeat forecast is based on boosting production of its best-selling plane and getting a handle on fixed-price contracts for the Pentagon. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Here's the deal. I've had constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating for years. I've tried a lot of laxatives and fiber supplements, but my symptoms keep coming back.
You could have a chronic condition called irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Talk to a doctor today. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by Abbey and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Well, the sky will be clear to partly cloudy for tonight. There will be some patches of fog, low 47. Mostly sunny and mild tomorrow, a high of 68. And then mainly clear tomorrow night. Some fog forming again in spots, low 50. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Tell your smart speaker to play KDKA or download the free Odyssey app. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Hi there, and good evening. I am Rich Valdez. Valdez with an S. At Rich Valdez on all of the social media. And the phone number, if you want to join the program tonight, is 866-505-4626. 866-505-4626. And a couple of quick headlines. We talked about these a little earlier, but just some updates. Gavin Newsom is now admitting that Democrats are getting crushed, quote-unquote, on messaging. And, of course, Biden delivered another Republicans are horrible people speech trying to get his base rallied for the midterms. That's all he's got because he doesn't have a record. The San Francisco DA claims that there's no public interest in releasing body cam footage from the Paul Pelosi attack, and that was something we were supposed to talk to Amir Benno about, so I owe you that one. The Fed and the Federal Reserve has hiked interest rates another 3/4 of a point. Ouch. And Biden says that inflation is the fault of the war in Iraq, where he happened to have lost his son, who did not die in Iraq. And there's a study that's out that says Google is punishing Republicans who speak out against big tech. Meanwhile, the CDC is replacing the word woman with the words pregnant person in their latest guidance. Now, that's not all that's going on. We got a few different things, right? There's a sex reassignment topic coming out of Florida, and 2 different medical boards have decided that it's not appropriate for those under 18. This is a joint committee of Florida's 2 medical boards voted last week to draft a rule that would ban puberty blockers and other gender dysphoria treatments for minors that are in Florida. The Florida Board of Medicine and the State Board of Osteopathic Medicine voted Friday to proceed with a plan that will bar anyone under 18 from receiving sex reassignment surgery or taking hormones. Now, this came after nearly a 5-hour discussion while the experts and the public voiced their opinions. So, with us to discuss that, the outcome of that, and the work they've done towards that, and in support of that, is the president of the American Principles Project, Terry Schilling. Terry Schilling, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me, Rich. I'm really happy to be on with you.
Yeah, you bet, man. I know you guys have your finger on the pulse of what's going on, and you're not ashamed or afraid to get in the face of those that need to be spoken to let them know a thing or two about the American family. So good on you for doing that. Tell us a little bit about what's going on here in Florida.
Well, the great news is that because of the political courage shown by Ron DeSantis, the Florida Board of Medicine has declared that gender transition treatments, the chemical castration drugs that they give to young children to block their puberty, and the surgeries are not going to be allowed. This is a big deal. This is actually where Europe is headed, and what Europe has been doing for the past few years. They've been moving away from these gender transition treatments because they're looking at the data, they're looking at the evidence, and they're seeing that the central claims of the transgenderism movement, that these gender transitions are necessary to decrease suicidal ideation and self-harm, are actually not true. They're seeing the data firsthand. And what Florida is doing is they're taking an objective look here, and they're rejecting all of the claims of the transgenderism movement and doing the right thing to protect children from being exploited by these corrupt endocrinologists, these corrupt gender psychiatrists, and obviously the corrupt surgeons that are making tons of money off of them across the country. It's a good thing, and I think it's going to spread to the rest of to many other states across the country.
I think this is trend-setting. I agree with you. I hope that other states look at this. And, you know, there's a few ways I think that we can slice this. And looking at this, part of me thinks, are they now really just following the science after abusing these children for years? Or was this part of a multi-year experiment? So let's put this out there, see what happens, and look at the numbers later. And once, if it's really that bad, then we won't do it. Because I feel like it's a bunch of mad scientists that are out there saying, you know what, we don't really care about your children, but we care about, can we affect, can we make it a choice? Can we make the choice of being a boy or a girl or whatever it is, can we give that out as an option? And that's just me. Maybe I'm, speculating in the wrong place. But what's your thought on that?
Well, I think that the situation that we're in as Americans is a little bit different than what they're in with Europe, in that Europe has the ideology there, they have the politics there, but Europe doesn't have the profits in the healthcare industry that could be then reinvested into the activism and the lobbying and the legislation aspect. I'm not against, just to be clear, I'm not against profits. I actually think the profits usually can be good. They're usually reinvested into making medical technology better and more efficient. But when it comes to America, the big difference is that you have the ideology.
To a first-time manager, basically handing the keys to the Ferrari to someone who just got their license, no real driving experience. Good luck. Good luck. You might be able to drive around the neighborhood. We'll see later on when you get on the highway. There's some other drivers out there, and it's not as easy as just, going 15 miles an hour. I've just been, jaded. I've just been, I've seen it, bro. Like, I don't expect anything to change because they don't look at it the way fans look at it. Their metric for success is not getting back to the World Series. They preach World Series. They put World Series in your mind. They sell you World Series, and then when they come up short, they say, we had a successful year. Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs. We had 2 Gold Glove winners.
DJ LeMahieu and Jose Trevino, Gold Glove winners. Jose Trevino, who Brian Cashman traded for in spring training, he also won the Fielder's Bible Award. One of the best defensive catchers framing pitches in baseball. Brian Cashman went and got him. Harrison Bader, we have 5 home runs in the postseason. That was a Cashman move. Cashman traded Jordan Montgomery for him, and every Yankees fan was upset about left-handed pitching. Jordan Montgomery, we need more pitching. How do you trade Monty? Not me. We have audio and we have written statements from me saying, trade Monty. They can't win for him. They can't score runs. He never gets any run support. Cashman told me he was going to shore up this team up the middle. Catcher, shortstop, center field. He did not come through on that promise. He did when he brought Harrison Bader and Jose Trevino in. IKF, I don't know, I'll never get over the move to go to IKF. He was one guy had to have. That was their stopgap, and when you get into the postseason, you go away from him. Yeah, because he's a liability. You watch him commit errors all year, and then you get in the postgame and tell us, well, there's metrics to show that he's one of the best defensive shortstops in the game. I don't need your metrics. Those metrics are hidden. My eyes see what they see in the wide open. I watch the game every day. I don't need your secret charts. I don't need your analytical guys to break down his range. Oh, well, he gets to these balls that are an extra 15 feet to the right or left. Please. Give these young guys a chance. We're watching a World Series where it's Jeremy Pena versus Bryson Stott. Those are rookie shortstops. They have no experience prior to this year, and they're playing on the biggest stage, and they're getting it done. Don't we have 2 coveted prospects in Anthony Volpe and Oswald Peraza that play shortstop, and another utility guy in Oswaldo Cabrera who showed he can do anything you ask him to do, that also played most of his games at shortstop in the minors? What you so afraid of? These other teams aren't afraid. The Braves, they call guys like, I look at the Yankees going into this next year, man, they better fast track these kids. You didn't want to trade them for Luis Castillo. You didn't want to trade them. You play them. But yeah, I don't expect anything to change. It's the same thing. This press conference is gonna be like deja vu, bros. Just preparing you now. Get ready for the questioning, right? Get ready for all the questions, and get ready for them to tap dance around these questions. Adam in Forest Hills on the Fan. You got it, Adam.
Oh man, where do we even start? So look, I think first and foremost, Cashman did have a plan. 5-6 years ago, the plan was, I've got Judge, I've got Greg Bird, I've got Gary Sanchez, I'm going to be a seller, I'm going to bring in Frazier, I'm going to bring in Glaber, I'm going to have some cornerstones. He missed on every single guy except Judge. Yeah. And then what did he do? He held on too long, he gave guys away, and he does what he's been doing, is create this land of misfit toys with no cornerstones, putting together a roster of non-situational, non-contact, old and slow guys. I mean, you said it yourself, right? He says one thing, and then he goes about doing the exact same thing. As Yankee fans, the Yankees have become the definition of insanity. Mm-hmm. They go and they do the same thing over and over again, and we sit, as you said, we get hyped, we're fired up for a new season. He said, let's get younger, let's get more athletic. Let's bring in Rizzo. You know what? I love Rizzo, but Rizzo is neither of those two things. Let me trade Sanchez, who had maybe a little value left, and bring in Donaldson. Let me stick Hicks back in the outfield. He says one thing continually, and right now, we've got no cornerstones, we've got no plans. Judge is likely to go, because if he doesn't, what are they going to do with this roster where they've got money coming off the books, right? They've got Britton's money coming back. They've got, I think it's $55 or $60 million this year invested in Donaldson, Chapman, and Britton, so they'll get some of that back. But look at how he's allocating this money. Yes, they have a big payroll. Yes, they spend tons of money on the wrong guys.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the call. Well said, Adam. We all know it. That was part of my strategy that I put out on the internet and I put on the podcast.
spend enough money to have one of the higher payrolls, but then talk to us about a luxury tax, please. Spend enough money to have one of the higher payrolls, but where you allocate the funds do not make you successful, right? And you had an Aaron Judge for the low. You had an Aaron Judge for $17 million. And now you got to pay this guy almost double that. No, definitely double that. And some. To keep him. And he may just want to go elsewhere. Aaron Judge is a guy that talks a lot about World Series and winning a championship. I don't think the Giants get him there. But who knows? They might present him with some options and some things they're looking to do. And money talks. That's the biggest thing. And so we wait. We got to wait this out. You know, the Aaron Hicks thing, right? When we talk about upgrading center field. Cashman said that in the offseason, but then Aaron Hicks is a starting center fielder. And bro was so cooked this year. Like, he didn't look like a major league player at times. He had one good month of the season. And that made us buy in. And you all know one good month in 8 months means nothing. But that's a guy that they gave $70 million to in their plans. The Gleyber Torres thing, I'm done with Gleyber Torres. I wish him well elsewhere. I hope he's an all-star elsewhere. But you forced Gleyber Torres to be a shortstop in 2020 and 2021. And then at the end of 2021, you finally admitted your mistake there. The kid is not a shortstop. He's a liability. You move him back to second. But then in the offseason, instead of going to just get a sure-handed shortstop that has been doing it for years, you get a guy that played third base, won a Gold Glove, has played shortstop, yes, but then as a New York Yankee, he had a slow start. I remember coming on here and saying, IDK about IKF. I don't know about IKF. I don't know if he can do it. This is the New York Yankees. We watched Derek Jeter do it. And then we watched Didi Gregorius come in and have a slow start, but he did it too. He hit the ball and he fielded the ball cleanly, athletically. But then they sold you on a stopgap shortstop. We're going to pass on this free agent class of all these stud shortstops and not pay any of them the big money. Why? We've got Anthony Volpe and Oswald Peraza. Okay, we'll play them. Play them. Will they? Nope. I don't know. I expect them to run it back with IKF. And remember when the Yankees came into this spring training, Aaron Boone got on that podium and said, Gio Urshela is our shortstop. Nah. Keeping Pearson on the fan. I'll be right back.
The home of the NFL on Westwood One is WFAN. Eagles and Texans. Thursday night football, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. The Fan, 101.9 FM, and always live on the free Odyssey app. Watch the TCS New York City Marathon this Sunday, November 6th on WABC Channel 7. Over 50,000 runners, including the world's top professional athletes, race through all 5 boroughs from Staten Island to Central Park. Race starts at 8:30 a.m. and coverage begins at 7.
When it comes to getting the guaranteed lowest price on Falcon tires, there's only one place to go, Town Fair Tire. And when it comes to getting more free services for life than anywhere else on Falcon tires, there's only one place to go, Town Fair Tire. So when you're in the market for the best deal on Falcon tires, get to Town Fair, because...
What's on everybody's mind tonight? You guys want to talk about anything in particular? We can turn this into a roadwaywiz question and answer session if you like. Send in your questions to the live chat and I will be sure to ignore most of them. Or maybe I'll answer all of them if they're good.
Water and help reduce the equivalent of over 15 billion plastic bottles from landfills worldwide.
Holy fresh, environmentally friendly drinking water. Am I right?
Right, Bob. And we're already on the way. Let us help you out with free in-home water tests from local culture water experts.
When I caught a whiff, a scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer
destination for all things New York Giants. The updated mobile app includes the best exclusive Giants content, plus breaking news alerts, highlights, photos, and podcasts. On game days, the mobile app allows you to access your mobile tickets, order food and beverages for easy pickup, and select live camera angles to enhance your experience. The New York Giants app presented by DraftKings is available for free on iPhone, iPad, and Android devices. Download the app today at the App Store or Google Play to unlock the best New York Giants content.
From the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities.
New Jersey homeowners, you could save hundreds of dollars. New Jersey business owners, you could save even more. Best of all, you can save the planet too. Hi, I'm Chloe. We're the IT commercial projects and energy assessments that can be lots more green for your business. Let's light our way to a cleaner future. Visit njcleanenergy.com or call 1-866-NJ-SMART.
Introducing Spectrum One. It's Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits per second. Advanced Wi-Fi with best-in-class security and privacy. Spectrum Mobile with unlimited talk, text, and data plus nationwide 5G. Get it all with Spectrum One. Spectrum Internet, Advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for only $49.99 a month. Visit Spectrum.com or a Spectrum store today. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
It's National Diabetes Month, and WSAN, together with United Healthcare and their Oxford products, want to remind you that prediabetes and type 2 diabetes may be prevented, delayed, or even reversed with exercise and a healthier diet. Talk to your healthcare provider about your risk factors.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987.